So my latest toy is an Everstart maxx 1200 amp jump starter, bit of an upgrade from my 800 amp one. There are a few things that are identical to the 800 amp. 120 psi air compressor built in, 3 USB ports the same, identical. A little bit of an upgrade, 1200 amp jump starting as opposed to 800. Flashlight's the same, but what I like about this one, it has a 500 watt AC power inverter to give you a 120 volt AC outlet. I shall test this. I've just got this out of the box and it's supposed to be charged fully before you use it. The old 800 amp had a separate little charging plug-in, like a USB thing almost. This one you have to charge directly using a power cord, 120 volt. So let's plug that in and see what happens. This has a digital display. It's telling me the charge status, and we just have to leave this so it's fully charged before we can test it. Where it says charge for 40 hours or until the 4 bars are solid. I've been charging for about 2 hours now and they are solid. So we'll just unplug it. So let's have a quick look at what the buttons do. Pressing this is the AC power. We'll say AC, so you can now plug something up to 500 watts in there. That'll stay on until you turn it off. Jump starter, it will not start according to the manual. It will not turn on until you've connected everything properly, the cables. There seems to be some pretty good safety features here if they work. If you connect it to the wrong terminals, or if they're not connected properly, it will not turn on, or it will turn itself off and beep for 10 seconds at a time, every 10 seconds, but it will not jump start a car if you've connected it incorrectly. LED, that just turns the stuff on. The air, it looks like you can set the tyre pressure here using the plus or minus to whatever it needs to be. At the moment it's showing PSI, so and this turns on the okay, so you press that to start it. The USB, we're still on battery thing here, so there you go, it says the USB, so that turns the USB on and off the power there. So the LED button turns on the flashlight. Okay, so the first test I'm going to do is test the compressor. These tyres require 35 psi and I've plugged it in. At the moment it's showing I've got 31, and I'm going to set it to minus to 35 psi. Start the compressor. You can see it's using power, and we'll see if it stops at 35. That did seem to take a little bit longer towards the end, but it stopped dead on 35, and that's how much battery that's doing. One, I'm going to do the other 3 tyres and I'll check in on the last one to see how much drainage it used. Okay, well, I pumped them all up. They were all showing 3 to 4 pounds below PSI. This is a big tyre, 225 65 17. And one thing I will notice after, get out of the way, dog. After I pumped them up, I went round and checked again. Where I set this at 35 and it did stop at 35 PSI, this is the reading it's showing now. So it did slightly overinflate it. Just to show that it wasn't only that tyre. This is the first one that I inflated. Stopped at 35 and it's showing now the reading is 36.3. Now after putting 4 to 5 pounds of air into all 4 tyres, battery level is still showing fairly full. Now I can't say it's the fastest tyre inflator I've had, but it certainly does the job. I mean, it does inflate the tyre. So if we can ignore that 1 PSI over what it was originally programmed for, I think this is fairly good. It's certainly on the roadside or when you're out in the middle of nowhere in an emergency, it is just the thing you need. Okay, quick test of the AC function. I am currently running this fish tank, using it in an emergency. I'm running a filter, air pump and all the lights plus the heater on this, although I don't think the heater's actually on at the moment because this time of year inside our house it isn't that cold. But just to prove that the electricity works, I don't know how long this is going to run for. It does seem to be coming down a little bit. Oh, that might just be how much power it's taking. But yeah, you have to remember these things are emergency units for travelling, and it could run your lights if you go camping off-road like we do often. You can run some lights, especially with the LED lights. They drain hardly any wattage when you're in the middle of nowhere and you're off-gridding. We're often an hour from any kind of electricity when we go camping. So the AC power does work. The only thing I don't like about these is they do not come with an in-car charger. The only way I can see to charge this one up, I mean I do it anyway with my other ones, is if you have a power inverter and then you can in your car. It does not come with any kind of cable that you can just plug into your 12 volt to charge it, and that's a problem. If you're on a long road trip, you're away for a couple of weeks and you use this thing, how do you charge it up when you're in your vehicle or you're off grid? And the only way I've figured out how to do it is we do have a power inverter in the car, so I can go from 12 volt to the 120 and then charge this up. Okay, so my opinion on this, I have yet to test to see if it will start a vehicle, a flat battery, but I have no reason to suspect it won't, because my smaller model, the 800 amp one, I've had for some time, and I've started a 4.7 litre Dodge Durango with that. If that 800 one can do it, this one will have no problem at all. The things I like, obviously, that it's still got the USB charging. It's kind of, if you're on the road, they're supposed to be for emergencies, but it gives you a little bit more bang for that. If you're on the road, on camping, this, yeah, I think that's a good idea. and it would have helped us a few years ago. I just powered up my fish tank. We had 4 days without electricity here in Texas during a freezing storm, and we lost a few fish, not because of the temperature. We managed to keep the room warm enough, but the pump stopped working, so that was a problem for us. I don't know how long this would have lasted, but in an emergency, a little bit of power doesn't go amiss. Like I say, if you're out camping, you can probably power your lights around your tent, your campsite with it. The pump, air pump, no complaints about that. I think that's wonderful. I like the idea that you can set it and just walk away. You don't have to keep your eye on that gauge. So I'm going to give this 5 thumbs up, even though I only have 2. And that's out of 5. So have at it. And I will be back in about a year to give a follow-up to see how it's done.